Hello everyone, here with a new daily video, and kind of just want to throw out a couple different variations of Sniper that you can try out. Right now it's, the best comp. Snipers are just crazy good, whether it's Zeri or Kog'Maw or Twitch. Really strong synergy at the moment. So I wanted to make this just because I feel like sometimes people will look at all these tier lists and videos and see like, oh, Zeri Watchers is the only way to play snipers, or like they see that this is the only recommended comp version of the comp. So just kind of wanted to show that there's many different ways to flex this comp, whether you're contested or not. There's so many different ways to play this, and I highly encourage people to do it just because it's really strong and you're gonna end up facing it basically in every game that you play. I don't think I've had a single game in the past 3 or 4 days, whenever the patch came out, where someone isn't playing sniper. And for the most part, I do notice people are trying to just hard focus on the Zeri Reroll comps. But again, there's many different ways to play this comp. Yesterday's video was actually me kind of just flexing sniper and frontline, and I mean, I did high roll, I made plenty of mistakes, but I still managed to get first place just by realizing that I had the game naturally was giving me snipers of all shapes and forms. I initially went in without wanting to play Zeri Reroll and somehow ended up doing it anyway accidentally, but still capped at 4 snipers. Yeah, I mean, anyway, to get started, basically this is the most common version of the Zeri Reroll that people will look at or mention or see in their games. Basically what you see here is just a Watcher frontline with Kog'Maw and Zeri. Now, this version that I'm showing you is not actually the most common one. What I'm showing you right now is the Scar Kog'Maw version, which was very popular in the second patch of the set. I might be wrong, it might be the first or third patch, but somewhere in the early patches of the set. And this comp is great because everyone is trying to play level 6 reroll, and if everyone is contesting Zeri, you can just pick up 1 or 2, and essentially she's not your main carry in this version. You have Kog'Maw for that. So if you hurry up to level 7 faster than everyone else, because everyone else again is going to be rolling for Zeri on 6, you can really roll down, make sure to manage your econ well and everything else, but you can roll hard for Kog'Maw and Scar, and it is one main combo. People are also expecting AD comps right now because everything is Twitch or Zeri, but Kog'Maw throws a wrench in that because he's AP, right? So if people are building just armor, Thornmail, etc., they're gonna have a hard time dealing with your Kog'Maw. Yeah, so throw this one out there. If you ever feel like you're contested and you don't think you're running out of tempo and you're just not hitting that Zeri 3, consider going for that Kog'Maw and just pushing forward. And that's going to apply to a lot of the comps that I'm going to talk here. So this is really a more common version that you'll find out. You have Zeri 3-star, Vladimir or Vander 3-star, just because you get a bunch of those copies when you're level 6. It's going to be very hard to find those, mostly because Watchers are kind of a really good frontline right now. But you can still play variations of this that don't involve Watchers. Again, for the past few patches, really, most of the Zeri comps have been Sentinel, the Zentinel version of it, where, your frontline is just 6 Sentinels instead of 6 Watchers. That, is still very strong, especially if everyone is, if you have 2-3 people getting Watchers, all the Watchers from the store. There's a lot of people playing things like Vander and Darius because family is a thing right now. So you may have a hard time finding those Vanders. If you see 2 people playing family, 2 people playing Watchers, you're just not going to hit Vanders, right? So that's when you want to start thinking, oh, I can play Watcher, I can play Bruiser, right? And that goes to my next version. Same thing, 6 Bruisers, fairly straightforward, right? This version, I kind of sometimes like to go for Kog'Maw Rennie reroll in level 7. Again, similar idea. I want to throw a wrench in the lobby where everyone's playing AD, so kind of focus on my Kog'Maw instead. Rennie is really strong. If I get early copies of Rennie, I tend to just keep her because she can solo frontline so much. She's a better Darius, if that makes sense. You know how Darius is a 1 cost, can tank a lot if you put him if you give him a you know, like a Bloodthirster or a Gargoyles, they can just kind of like soak up a lot because their ability heals them so much. Rennie is basically that, but better. If you're playing Rennie, you can also like high roll her augment, and that augment is actually probably like S tier or A tier if not. It's really strong to play. So don't sleep on that one. Bruisers, I feel like I've said this before, but they get forgotten by a lot of players just because Watcher's been so bad for so long that the discourse surrounding it has always been Watchers are bad, Zentinels are good. Like, people just forget about Bruisers. Really the only Bruiser you see around is like, you see Elise flexed into like every single comp, right? She's an amazing character, an amazing unit. You'll see them in like individual comps, right? You'll see Stev in Enforcer, you'll see Trundle on Scrap, you'll see Nunu on Experiment, but never as like a Bruiser main frontline comp. They're not in a great spot, I have to say. They are better than like Watchers were last patch, but at the end of the day, like if everyone is getting the Sentinels and the Watchers, you could just solidify a very strong frontline with Bruisers and be okay. Don't sleep on that. I know like people, again, a big purpose of this video is to like remind people that there's more options than what the tier lists are showing you. Tier lists are a little problematic for me because I think a lot of people come into TFT coming from games like League of Legends, right? Or I don't know, like Overwatch, other games where you're playing one character, right? So you see, oh, I don't know, let's say Zeri is S tier as an ADC in League of Legends, so you just play Zeri or ban Zeri, right? In this game, it's not just Zeri that's really good. Like, sure, she is a really strong unit, but it's also like the traits surrounding her. How do you manage her? What augments you select for her? All those things really matter in TFT. Anyway, moving on. This is like the most played Zeri comp throughout the set. No longer in this patch because they nerfed Sentinels a little bit. And now like Watcher has taken over, but this is still very solid. Don't sleep on Sentinels. Same reason as Bruiser. People may not be building Sentinels. Sentinels are also less contested now because there's not enough, like, people aren't playing Renata anymore, or like Visionaries, which used a lot of Sentinels. The only comp that's really using Sentinels that's like a good comp is probably Academy. And I see like maybe I don't see Academy every game. I see it maybe one every other game. Maybe people play Academy as like early game comp, but I don't see enough people pushing for it. Maybe that'll change. I don't know. But again, the whole point of this is trying to like take a look at your board, at your lobby, make sure, hey, I don't want to be contested. If there's gonna be 3 people just fighting over Watchers, fighting over Zeri, whatever, like, you do your thing. You could still play the comp to a successful degree if you find other ways to play it. And that applies to all comps in TFT usually. In particular flex comps, like every set has like 2 or 3 tank synergies, right? So in this case we have like Watcher, Sentinel, Bruiser. Other sets have similar thing. And very often, like, you just kind of want to play whichever one the game gives you, or whichever one like no one else is playing, right? Keep that in mind. Try to like 300 IQ your lobby and beat people that way. Next up, we have probably like the most broken comp at the moment. This is just 6 snipers. This is only if you get a Sniper Emblem. You obviously can't guarantee a Sniper Emblem. It's not even craftable. It's one of those things that you just get through an augment, or like, I don't know, a golden orb, if that's possible. I'm not entirely sure, but for the most part, this isn't something you can guarantee. It's just like Mortdog deciding to give you a sniper crest, right? This is really strong. Even if you don't hit 6, like with 5 snipers, Twitch 1 star is actually really strong. I'm very surprised every time I'll give him like a Rage Blade and not even a static ship. What am I thinking? Infinity Edge, right? I'll give him a Rage Blade and Infinity Edge as a 1 star, and he's already dealing like so much more damage than, unless I have like a Zeri or a Kog'Maw 3 star, he's out damaging them. This is particularly hard comp to play, but if you do find a sniper crest, if like the game offers you a sniper crest, definitely consider it. It's very much worth going for. In this variation, you're not usually re-rolling because you want to reach level 9 to hit the Caitlyn, to at least, you know, get closer to guaranteeing that Caitlyn. Pretty much you're just kind of like securing the trait more than anything. Ideally, obviously, you're rolling to like secure your comp, like you know, on level 6, if you only have one Zeri, roll a little bit maybe to get a level 2, you know. All these things you have to suss out depending on your lobby and the tempo and the stage. All these things matter. But for the most part, you're really focusing on just kind of like reaching level 9, getting that 6 sniper. Sniper crest can go on anyone. I don't put it on Mundo because I think it gives health, right? I can't tell. Yes. Sniper Emblem gives health. We can see down here. Let me show you. If you hover this, it says 150 health. Sure, it can be considered a tank item in that sense, but like there's better tank items for Mundo. You can give it to Blitzcrank, you can play it to Nunu. I don't give it to Elise because Elise is jumping into the team. I don't know, maybe you need a little more health on Elise. You can be the judge of that. But yeah, this is also really strong because it uses Experiment. You want to have your Mundo and your Twitch on Experiment. This is Experiment 3, not 5, so there's only 2 hexes. The positioning of this is always going to be different depending on the hexes that the game gives you. So sometimes you might have your Twitch here and your Mundo here, right? Like, I don't need to explain this to you. Just put those 2 on the front line and back line hexes. That's all I can say. Yeah. And finally, this is a comp that I've waited all set for it to be strong, and I kind of hate that. I kind of regret it because now it's everyone is playing it. Everyone's trying to play this, and I hate it. I was one of the like few people really trying to push for Echo carry back in the early sets. Not Echo was kind of like forgotten. I think he found the light when people started playing Ambusher and Scrap, but before that there was like 3 patches where no one was playing those 2 comps, and or like very few people were, right? But in general, like I love this little Scar Echo Zeri trio, and dude, adding I mean, watch some of my earlier videos from this set. Watching Garen just fly around with the Firelight Emblem is so much fun. He heals himself, he deals tons of damage. It's just a very fun experience for TFT. These 2 comps that I'm showing you final, like at the very end, are probably the strongest comps in the entire game right now. Now, I need to take this with I need to say this disclaimer. Mordog did mention that they may put out a B patch early next week. So today's Sunday. There could be a B patch Monday or Tuesday, which could really shake things up. I would be surprised if they nerfed snipers. What I would like to see them do is actually buff other comps. Because what I really don't like about this patch is that they nerfed everything except Zeri. And they were just like, oh, we're gonna buff family and we're gonna buff snipers. And now that's literally the only comps. After one of the most balanced sets ever in TFT, we're stuck on reroll meta again. I don't know. Whatever. Regardless, try this one out. Sometimes you get offered a Firelight Emblem on 2-1 for your first augment selection. It's a little risky because you don't know if people are going to be hard forcing. Excuse me. You don't know if people are going to be hard forcing Zeri. It's still worth considering, you know? It's that strong that, like, in any other patch, I would have said, like, don't get Firelight Emblem on 2-1 because you're just going to lose tempo. I would rather get econ or rerolls or, you know, something like that. Even combat. Like, items are great, but Firelight early doesn't do too much for you. Unless, let's say, you know, on minions you get a copy of Scar. And then it's really easy to find the Zeri early. that's golden. Like, you couldn't high roll more than that. But in general, think about your position before getting this on 2-1. Yeah. Well, that was it. Short video for today. Yeah, I've had a little bit of a migraine all day, which happens, so haven't been able to put something bigger. But tomorrow I'm probably just going to be talking about whether or not there is a B patch coming out, or if not, I'll make another guide probably on family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and happy rolling.